Now, I want to talk this morning about the Ezekiel Elliott case. Ezekiel Elliott, the young running back for the Dallas Cowboys, he was a rookie last year with Dak Prescott, the new young rookie quarterback who took over in Romo's place. The Cowboys won a lot of games last year. Their future looks really bright. Okay, I just wanted to make everybody aware of whom I was talking about. He was charged with domestic dispute. The police found no evidence to prosecute him or put him in jail or anything, and the NFL, with the commissioner Roger Goodell, decided to suspend him for 6 games. Everybody knows that. What everybody doesn't know is that it allows Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys and the NFL, to not be forced to give Ezekiel Elliott his guaranteed money. He was probably the best running back in football last year. So he may have to pay back a lot of money. Everything's money. The bottom line is always money. But I just want to mention some things because I listen to sports radio every day. And I want to say some things that come from the neighborhood, from real stuff. When I was young, I've been married twice. When I was real young in the 70s, my wife and I got into some scuffles. No punching and all that stuff, but anybody that knows my first wife, she's dead now. She died from bone cancer. But she was a real tough lady. I won't mention her name, but anybody that knows her knows what I'm talking about. If she ever had a fight, and she had many, there was not one fight that she didn't start. I'll bet you that. She was tough. And you be a young black man in the neighborhood, and you can't get a job, can't get no money, can't start having kids, you can't take care of them, you can't take them to Disneyland. Your attitude level is already bad, and then things happen. And I'm not trying to make it right for guys and saying that it's okay to fight with your wife. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying things happen. But anybody you love, you don't try to hurt them or kill them or beat them up or mark them up or anything like that. Sometimes your feeling gets the best of you. But I want to tell you about something that's recent because I'm a lot older now. Maybe 10 years ago, my wife and I, my second wife and I, we went over to her mom's house. She had a plastic purse on the dashboard with some coins in it, quarters. She used to save quarters. But she had about $60 in that plastic purse. We go over her mom's house, and her little brother and his friend, drinking whatever they drink, they were drunk. I'm talking 10 o'clock in the morning on Banderas. That's in Watts, over on the east side. She talks to her mom, gets out of her little van. Her brother and his friend, Black, they steal the purse with the $60 in it. She doesn't even notice it until late at night. It's 10 o'clock at night, and she comes downstairs and in the den, and she's calling him. And I hear her yelling and stuff, and she's getting on his case, and he's saying he didn't do it, and maybe his friend did it, and he'll check. And she's telling him, no, if he did it, you know about it. So they argue, and she says, I'll kick your ass. And next thing, she hangs up the phone, and she runs upstairs, gets dressed, and she comes downstairs and says, where are the keys, honey? And I said, what do you want the keys for? They're over on the desk. What? I'm going over there. I'm going to kick Alex's ass. And Da. I said, no, honey, it's 10:30 at night, quarter to 11. We'll get him tomorrow. I said, but he ain't got the money anyway. He spent it. As much as they drink and get high and shit, they spent that money up, girl. We'll get him. We'll tell his mom. And no, I'm going over there to get him. So she's arguing and yelling, and she's getting dressed, and she snatches the keys, and I try to grab them, but I'm not fast enough, and she gets them, and she's got them balled up in her fist, and she sits on the floor to put on her tennis shoes, and she's tying her tennis shoes. So I'm trying to get the keys from her. Her driver's license is expired. She doesn't have a current driver's license. So I'm saying, no, honey, don't go. It's late at night. It's a Friday night. It's the police are over there and watch. They're just sitting there waiting for you to drive. Don't go. We'll go tomorrow. So she's not listening. She continues to put on her shoes. So I'm trying to get the keys. I'm not having any luck. So the kids are in the kitchen and back and forth, and they're in the den with us. But it's no hassle. You know, we're not arguing much with each other, except I can't get the keys. So I sit on the floor to try to talk with her and calm her down, trying to trick her a little bit. And she seems a little calm, so I sit on the floor behind her. And now we're both sitting on the floor. So I reach around with both my arms and try to give her a little hug. And I'm trying to take the keys out of her hand. So she won't give them to me. So I tell her, I said, well, I'm going to call the police and tell them you don't have a driver's license. You can't drive, so don't try to go because you're going to go to jail and da. So I don't know it, but she goes upstairs and she calls 911. But she hangs up. She doesn't say anything to him. She hangs the phone up. So she comes downstairs later, and I'm trying to get the keys. And there's no way for me to get the keys from her without fighting with her. So she makes a mistake, and she sits her purse down on the table. So the keys are right on top of her purse. I grab the keys and put them in my pocket. Now she's really pissed off. She's ready to go, but I got the keys. So we're arguing. Just then the phone rings. That's the police calling back from the earlier 911 call. So I answer the phone, and I don't know what they said. They asked me, did somebody call? I said, yeah, maybe. I said, but it was a mistake. Everything's cool. No, it's no hassle, and da. And the guy says, okay, and he hangs up. So we're sitting in there talking. Oh, I go and make a cup of coffee. And I was in the den. Yeah, but she's still yelling and arguing. So I go in the dining room with my coffee and my ashtray, and I light a cigarette. A few minutes later, the police come. A big, tall, black guy and a little 4-foot white lady. Cops, LAPD. And they ring the bell, and I go to the door, and the guy asked me, could he come in? I know you got to have a search warrant, but everything's cool. Nobody's even arguing at this point. So I said, oh, yeah, come on in. So they come in, and the female cop, she says, in a nasty attitude, hey, put that cigarette out. And I looked at her. I said, this is my house. I paid a house note. Let me put my cigarette out. I'm drinking coffee, smoking my cigarette in my house. I invited you in. What are you talking about? So she unbuckles the little trigger strap on her sidearm and moves towards me. I look at the big black guy and I said, what the hell's going on, man? So I said, I don't have to put my cigarette out. You just leave if you don't like to smoke or you got asthma or something, get out. And she starts talking, and the black guy, he stops her and he says, wait a minute. So he's asking about the 911 call, and are we fighting? Are we? And everybody's calm. So he's satisfied with that. He says, okay. And they're getting ready to leave. And he opens the iron door to go out. And she's still standing there, the white cop lady. And my kids are standing in the hallway. And my son was about 9 or 10 or something. And she asked him, did your dad hit your mom? And he says, oh, no, he wouldn't do that. And so I said, look, lady, I told you and the guy that my wife wanted to go to her mom's house to get her brother. And it probably would have been some confusion because she was pissed off about her money being stolen. And she said something. I said, wait a minute. She doesn't have a current driver's license. So I don't want to let her go anyway. It's my car. The car is in my name. So I don't want to let her go. So she said, you want to give her a GTA? And Grand Theft Auto? No, I don't want to give my wife. She didn't take the car anyway. It's in the driveway. And she said, well, that's what you should have done. The law states that you cannot put your hands on her to take your keys if she had them in her hand. And all you had to do is call the police, and we would have stopped her and arrested her. And I said, yeah, but you would have given her a GTA. She would have went to jail and had a record like all black folks. What do you mean? And she said, well, that's the law. And she turned to my son and she said, when he was taking the keys from her, he said he was sitting on the floor with her. He put his arms around her. Did he touch her? And my son said, yeah, he took the keys. Well, he thought I took the keys out of her hand, but I didn't take them then. I got them later when she put her purse down. But my son was being truthful and correct. He said, yeah, he put his arms around her to take the keys. That lady unbuckled her gun and took her handcuffs out and said, okay, turn around, put your hands behind your back. They took me to jail, 77 Police Division, fingerprinted me, arrested me for domestic dispute. Okay? I'm sitting in jail with all these knuckleheads, and early in the morning, that night, I get a visit. I don't know how you get a visit that late, but Lisa came to visit me. So we were talking, and she says, honey, I'm sorry, I don't know what. So I said, it's okay. I don't think nothing will happen. I'm just mad that I had to come down here and be with these knuckleheads. They got crazy people in the cell, and they're talking about fighting and all kinds of stuff. I saw my friend from 30 years ago and spoke to him, and two big old young guys on the top bunk were saying, hey, shut up down there, you guys. We're trying to sleep. And, I don't usually take that kind of mess, people yelling at me and stuff. But, big old guys, I didn't say nothing. But anyway, I'm telling her that. So she leaves. So about 6 o'clock in the morning, before breakfast, because I didn't get breakfast, right before they gave breakfast, Detective Henry, that's his last name, Henry. He's a detective at 77. He's a black guy, and he's from New Orleans, which is where I'm from. He calls me, and the booking lady, a black lady, she said, you want to go into the, something. She was getting ready to direct him to some room after she let me out of the cell. And he said, no, I don't need, just let him out. Let him right in the visiting room, let him out. And so he just came in there with me. And we talked, and he said, I went over your house this morning about 5:30, Mr. Rooney. And I said, oh, okay. He said, yeah, I got the whole story. He said, but I don't want to put this mess on the DA's desk, because she probably wouldn't file this case anyway. But I just want to know from you. And we talked about New Orleans for a while. And he said, okay, man, you're my homeboy. I don't want no stuff out of you. Tell me the truth. Are you going to go home and start an argument. Are you angry? Or I said, no, man, I'm angry. I'm in here. I want to go home. I said, I'm going to call her to come pick me up. And he said, okay, that's the truth, right? I said, yeah. He said, man, if you go home and start some stuff, I'm going to find you and beat your butt. I'm going to kick your butt. And I said, okay, man, I'm telling you the truth, man. Everything's cool. So he told the lady, the lady that does the fingerprinting, he said, just leave Rooney right here and do his paperwork because he's going home. Give him that form where he has to go down to the DA's office sometime next week and sign something or other. I don't remember. Forgive me for being vague. But anyway, I had to get some paper from the police station. So I got it, and they let me out, and I started walking home. And Lisa came to pick me up. So I walked a couple of blocks on Broadway, and she came to pick me up, and we went home, and everything was fine. But I didn't tell that story to shame the victim. That's what Keyshawn and them were talking about on the radio this morning. I'm just saying, you see how things work? That was a dumb, stupid arrest. I should never have been arrested. I'm thinking about Mr. Goodell. I'm thinking about giving Ezekiel Elliott 6 games. Then I learned about the money situation, how they could take the owners, the NFL owner can take the guaranteed money back when you get something on your jacket like that. And that's what it's all about, the money. Because you can't give him... Anyway, you can get arrested for domestic dispute and not be a bad guy and really not be guilty at all. I just want to say that. Okay, this is Rooney. Thank you.